Thank you for joining us. This is Politics Alive, reaching you live from Alive Television. I am Udwinga George. Interesting scenarios have been played, especially since the 25th of February, when the presidential elections held in the country. Ever after, of course, the governorship elections that was postponed with a week also took place on the 18th of March. And it's been intriguing scenarios, one after the other, on the political scene across the country. We look, for example, beginning with the ruling of Progressive Congress and some of the internal hassles that has actually bewitched the party, especially after the governorship elections. And of course, the Independent National Electoral Commission's inconclusive elections in some states and the ruckus that this has actually aroused within the Nigerian polity. But more importantly, I focus on today's edition of the program. We're looking into the People's Democratic Party and how much they are positioned to actually play the opposition role, especially when you look at the entrance of the third force in the 2023 general election, talking about the Labour Party. And of course, to have this conversation, I have a capable hand right here in the studio, whom I'm going to introduce to you right after this break. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This is Politics Alive. In a minute, I'll be back with my guest right here in the studio. In case you just joined us, this is Politics Alive, reaching you live from Alive Television. And today we're looking into the People's Democratic Party as the leading opposition party in Nigeria. Do they continue to be a leading opposition party, or the entrance of the Labour Party into the political arena in Nigeria is a threat to the opposition role of the People's Democratic Party? This and many more is our focus. And of course, to have that conversation, I have been joined by a leader of the party in the state of Osun, talking about Honorable Funsho Babarinde from the People's Democratic Party, especially in Osun State. It's good to have you join me today.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks to the viewers at home too.
All right, thank you for joining us. It's interesting, it's been a while. I mean, since you and I had conversation politically. I think at the time, it was about who was going to emerge as the president of this country. It was about who was going to emerge as the presidential candidate of your party, and the assurance of victory of the People's Democratic Party in the 2023 general elections. We have seen this course so far. People's Democratic Party, went into this election with 16 members as governors and a lot of other high-ranking officers across the country. But after the 2023 elections from the presidency, first of all, the party lost the presidency. The party also lost over 6 governors during the governorship elections. I'd like to get your reaction. What does this mean for the People's Democratic Party at this moment?
First of all, appreciate Nigerians for still believing in PDP despite the fact that we didn't win that election. Because if you look at what has happened in the last couple of weeks, let me say that. Number one, we were in that election as a fragmented party. Kwankwaso left for NNPP, and the volume of votes, it took away 1 million, close to 2 million. Obi left to Labour, and it became the second runner-up. And the G5 too, after driving things back and forth, then eventually worked for the president candidate of the party. And they took a sizable chunk of the votes away too. Benue went Labour, Enugu and Abia went for Labour too then. Rivers went for APC, Oyo went for APC. So if you look at the votes gathered by all those people, even if those votes have been added to that, probably have changed the results at the end of the day. But here we are. Like I said, yes, we went the election with 16 governors, and here we are. I think we have 12 now or something thereabouts. And
well, 9, because some are still under litigation. We are not certain what will come out.
No, even that 9 plus. We have some are in place. Osun, Bayelsa, Edo, and which other places are still in place? I think those 3. Yeah. So let's conservatively let me say 12. And but for me, like I told some people that PDP needs a lot of repositioning, a lot of restructuring now, because what happened to us in 2015 is a repeat of in 2015 we have an ample opportunity of winning Nigeria. Then it was President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan and a sizable number of our governors and some of our leaders who went away to form a new PDP and eventually merged with APC. And the result was that Buhari won convincingly then. Similar thing happened now. And for me, they say once beaten, twice shy. You understand? And now it has happened again. And I hope it won't happen the third time.
Okay.
For a party that has been in government for 16 years and another political party is there for 8 years now, moving forward, probably they'll be there for another 4 years or thereabout. I think there's a need for a total reworking of PDP from top to bottom.
Interesting. I mean, nobody could have argued that point. But let's go back to some of the fundamental issues. Before we go there, let's talk about the presidential election. Your party has actually challenged the victory of the APC in the election, in the outcome of the election, especially at the presidential level.
Yeah.
We saw Alhaji Atiku Abubakar come out with full force. At some point, he led a protest to the office of the Independent National Electoral Commission here at the FCT. Right after, a lot of people expected a concerted action where that is concerned to continue to talk about how he does not agree. Of course, right after, he also pointed out some anomalies, and he made public with the presidential election and the entire election process, the 2023 election. Now, shortly after, a lot of people say it looks as though Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and perhaps the PDP is already beginning to concede defeat where challenging the outcome of the 2023 election is concerned. Are you still going on with all the court cases?
Well, let me tell you one thing. As a Democratic Party, we had an election that we felt the rules guiding the election was flouted by INEC. And after the election, I think the best thing to do is to take it up with the judiciary. That's the Presidential Election Tribunal. You understand that? After we might have filing your papers, whatever you are saying is just an academic exercise outside what the judges are going to look into. You understand? Grounds of litigation has been laid already, and ordinarily, after laying such grounds, you wait for the outcome. Let all the lawyers go there and argue back and forth. The grounds of PDP for this election is that we discover that there are some set rules that INEC has put in place. But if you remember, sometimes last year, some notable politicians, I don't want to mention names, said they don't want beavers. And the whole country was like, why? How? Because a lot of money has been expended on this technology for us to have a free, fair, and credible election. All of a sudden, the umpire decided that for whatever reason that they are not going to rely on the electronic transfer of results again. What happened? What went wrong? Are they not prepared for eventualities, even if something has gone wrong? With that humongous amount that the federal government approved, the Senate approved for them.
So in essence,
and the moment to set a rule in a game, and that rule has been flouted.
Okay, so yeah, I get it now. So in essence, what the PDP's challenge is synonymous with what the candidate of the Labour Party and the entire Labour Party is also challenging. That we are not challenging the outcome of this election. That's what the Labour Party says, but they are challenging the process. So what the PDP is challenging is also
it's similar.
Okay.
But in addition, we are looking at some areas where there are some other malpractices that are very reasonable. The areas where we have been undervalued in our votes. There are some places where there are overvotings, and there are some lots of election. There are some places that election didn't even hold at all. And investigation has shown that some of those places are results, confirmed results for the party that was declared as the winner. So painstakingly, I think the presidential election tribunal will look at those things to see the merits and demerits. And when you said earlier that we are not, the party is no longer pushing positions. Look, for us, Nigeria is bigger than the party. The peace of this country is much more paramount than any other thing. We don't want to eat up the polity unnecessarily. We felt cheated. We felt that we have been surcharged. We have reported the appropriate quotas as established by the law of what we can do after election, and we are waiting for the outcome. That's it.
Okay, interesting law-abiding party.
Yes.
But a lot of people say, well, it is just so that people will not say that the PDP didn't actually raise any opposition.
But the party has the right to go to court. The candidate has the right to go to court.
Yes, that with the result of the elections, that, like you already also confirmed, that from the beginning of the entire race, the PDP had already been fractured in its own self. You talked about the G5 governors who gave chunk of the votes to other parties by not supporting the presidential candidate of the party.
Yeah.
You also talk about a whole lot of fracas about the leadership of the party and even the grouse that made the G5 to begin,
But Gbenga, despite all those things that we are still discussing, despite all those things, PDP is...
Hold on, Horrible. Are you saying now that with all of those challenges, that the PDP still stood a chance to have won in this election?
Yes, I can beat my chest to tell you that, because I am part of the campaign mobilization to a certain extent, and I know how responsive people are to PDP across the whole country. You understand? And if you look at it, even in 2019, we know what transpired. This is Nigeria, this democracy we are talking about in Nigeria. Despite all those challenges, we will have still won that election if there are no infractions.
If there were no infractions. Okay, that's from the part of the Independent National Electoral Commission, you mean to say.
Yeah.
But you spoke earlier about the candidate of the Labour Party leaving the PDP, because it's clear.
Yes.
He left the PDP just a few days to the primary election.
Yes.
After he left, we saw the mammoth popularity that he garnered, the mammoth followership that he garnered. Yes, I remember.
I agree with you.
I remember that it began, a lot of people said on social media, it was social media followership.
Yeah.
But we saw after the result that in Lagos State, the ruling party that was in that state lost. The PDP held the Federal Capital Territory. They lost in the Senate, they lost in the House of Representatives, the Amak area, to the same Labour Party, which a lot of you, especially who are professional politicians, do say, well, it's just social media followers.
Yeah, I'm still listening.
Do you not consider the exodus of the Labour Party and the mammoth followership that it began to gather as one of the key factors that played out against the victory and eventual emergence of the People's Democratic Party?
Gbenga, yes, I agree with you that Peter Obi has what we can call an organic crowd, young people, new voters who might not be too politically savvy to decipher A from B or C. But if you look critically at that campaign and the eventual results, two things. One, it's a known fact that in Nigeria today, not even in Nigeria, throughout the whole world, there's no place you will not find an Igbo person. Anywhere any country or any state or any area or any neighborhood you enter, you can't find an Igbo person. You better run, because they are like that. They can adapt. What am I driving at? If you look at Lagos as an example, there are a lot of, because Lagos is the business capital of Nigeria, the tendency is that the Igbo people are a higher concentration of their people there. You understand? Now, if you look at that presidential election, apart from Southeast and South-South, you will discover that the volume of, somewhere at the North Central, the volume of voters in some other places are not that pronounced. Then, if you look at the other side of it, I don't want to say this on the national TV or in any communication, but I will be a bit subtle. What I'm saying in essence is ethnicity played a very key role in the Labour Party election. One. Number two, the Christian community throughout the whole country played a major role. That is religion. So you discover that religion and it played a vital role in whatever whatever value we are adding to Peter Obi. You understand? Well, some say this politics. Whatever way you can do to win, just win. You understand? But for me, it has only showed some decisive tendencies in our polity, which should not be encouraged. You understand? Now, let me take it a step further.
Is it? Before you move further, yeah. I think we should talk about this ethnicity and religion. Yeah. A lot of people say, Peter Obi has actually taken advantage of ethnicity and religion, to garner followership. But if you look within, like you also established, that a lot of the followership that he gets are young people. It's perhaps maybe safe to say, like a lot of people have spoken to me, that, the Nigerian people are tired of...
I'm not disputing that.
People's Democratic Party
and the
APC.
I won't dispute that.
And hence, they need a new direction.
Yeah.
With that position, does it still affirm the chances of the PDP? Is it not like looking like an effort in futility for the...
What I've discovered about Nigerians and politics in this country is the fact that even before the blow of the whistle, a lot of people have made up their minds. That's the bitter truth. And the APC has its traditional voters across the nation. PDP has its own. You understand? That's why I said. That's why I added that issue that the new voters who might not probably have experienced PDP in the last 16 years, or might not have experienced Buhari when it was, if you say anybody above 50, let me say 50 and above, anybody who's above 50 must have a new experience of Buhari when it was head of state. You understand? So he might have made up his mind if he loves his style or if he does not. So, and the platform he represents, and just say, okay, as long as this man is there, I won't go there. But for the younger ones, 18, 20 to, let me say 30, 35, they came in through PDP era. They were younger then, and they were, PDP has done this, done that. That 2015 campaign must have affected their psyche one way or the other. You see, if you're a bit clinical about what transpired this last election, one will discover that, yes, Obi phenomenon was huge. No doubt about that. I won't dispute that. You understand? But the fact remains that if you take it to the next stage, which is the governorship election, you expect that Obi will win like 10 states minimum. You don't get. With that trend, you understand? That means after the presidential election, it's all about Obi. It's all about Peter Obi and not about Labour Party. Because after that presidential election, everybody has referred back to their normal, you understand, normal traditional APC, PDP.
Okay, so this takes me to the next question, which talks to the total voter turnout at the election.
Yeah.
The total voter turnout for this 2023 presidential election was about 27%,
yeah,
which happens to be the lowest since the reintroduction of democracy in 1999.
Yeah.
In 2019, we had about 35%.
Yeah.
In 2015, we had about 54% appointing President Muhammadu Buhari.
Yeah.
The previous year, we had about 52%.
Yeah.
So we've seen a steady decline, in voter turnout after the emergence of President Muhammadu Buhari.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask, what do you think is responsible for this? We talk about a lot of youth wanting to vote. We talk about a lot of people now being interested, in the political process. And then, at the end of the day, we have only 27% voter turnout.
Yes. Benga, what happened is simple. That 2015 election was a bastardization of PDP. That was the year that PDP was really battered. You understand? To the level that nobody even wanted to hear anything called PDP. And they packaged the current president for us in the mode of the person that will do everything and anything. He will lead. He's a military man. He will lead from the front to tackle security. He will relocate his office to Sambisa. He will do this. He will turn this to this. You understand? In fact, electricity will be 24 hours. Infrastructure, and that because of the demonization of PDP, everybody, it's accessible now Nigerians fell for all those things. People are tired. 16 years. Yes. Let's try something else. Let's look at this man. Some of us shouted then anyway that, look, once a dictator was be a dictator, but it has come and gone. The thing is spanning 8 years after. And if you look at the trajectory of this government up till this afternoon, if not for, like I said, if not for the younger ones that are interested in Peter Obi, a lot of people are tired. They don't even want to vote again because they've tried A, they've tried B, they felt they are not getting the desired dividends, you understand? And the younger ones who does not even know where those older ones are coming from felt, okay, this man should be able to do it. At the end of the day, the establishment issues came to play and they couldn't make up the numbers to make Labour Party candidate.
You said establishment issues. I'd like you to elucidate on that, because when you talk about establishment, I want to believe you're referring to government institutions like the Independent National Electoral Commission and other agencies and bodies that were involved with the electoral process.
Yeah.
So how did they contribute to the people being disenfranchised from this electoral process?
Benga, when I talk about establishment, what I mean is in Nigeria today, we build strong people and not strong institutions. If our institutions are very strong, they are extremely strong, a lot of things will change. Let me give you an example, that of INEC. Look at the chairman of INEC from the blast of Wizu. Yes, we'll do this. If you give us this money, we'll do that. At the end of the day, we all know what happened. When you're talking about establishments, we talk about INEC, we talk about the judiciary, we talk about the security agencies. How many people were arrested in 2019 election? How many people are prosecuted? This last election, I think if I can remember, the total arrest throughout the country is about 1,700 and something. And at the end of the day, that's the last thing we are going to hear. When people commit offenses on election day, when people harass, when people do violence, that's the last thing. You won't see the end of, probably they are being prosecuted, probably they are being punished. And when people commit offense and you're not punishing them, the tendency is that they will do it again. And these are the kind of things that, okay, let me give you, if you look at the election in Lagos, the presidential election in Lagos, or even the governorship, they didn't allow some people to vote, and people are complaining. If you're not going to vote for party A, you don't vote here. You understand? Those are issues that affect the voters eventually. The voter psychology becomes deflated. That look, if you do, after taking time to collect the PVC, after taking time to go and line up, at the end of the day, somebody will tell you that your vote does not count. At the end of the day, somebody will come and harass you. You understand? These are issues that's what I said, the establishment, which comes in that form then. That's what I said, if we build strong decisions that people cannot really puncture, people cannot really go in there and destabilize, those strong decisions will take care of so many things, you understand, that will give confidence. What caused apathy was that there is no confidence in the process. There's no confidence in the institutions that are involved in our electoral process. The moment people can see, there's a breakdown of trust. The moment I can trust that, look, if I'm going to register for my PVC, I will get it right on time. I don't need to bribe anybody. I don't need to go through stress. The minute I get to the voting point, they will accredit me. I will do my vote, and at the end of the day, before the day runs out, I can check IRF or something and discover that my vote counts. It's what happened at the polling unit that I saw played out on the NSI. All those things will build over the time. You don't need to force people to go and vote. People will.
All right, honorable. I think you are driving the points of gradually, but we need to take a quick break now. All right, Bills, let's take this quick break. When we return, the conversation continues. Stay with us. In case you just joined us, this is Politics Alive, reaching you from Alive Television, and we've been discussing the position of the People's Democratic Party as the leading opposition party in Nigeria and its performance, reviewing its performance in the 2023 presidential, state assembly, and national assembly, even governorship elections. And I've been in the studios with Honorable Funsho Babarinde, who is a key member of the party from Osun State. All right, Honorable, I like your summations and how it was coming on. I'd like to take this conversation further to delve into the internal affairs of the People's Democratic Party in itself. All right, we spoke about it earlier that, and you mentioned in your own words that the PDP went into this election with fractured walls. I mean, the walls were already torn apart. In 2015, it was a mammoth shout. It was the wind of change blew the entire country, and everybody wanted another chance, another opportunity to explore. You mentioned that too. Now, it's been 8 years down the line. A lot of people say, well, the PDP at the time, you also mentioned it earlier, had a lot of internal issues that gave way, for an opposition party to defeat the incumbent president, Goodluck Jonathan, of the era. Now we are here, 2023, 8 years down the line. Isn't that enough time for the PDP to have actually mended its broken walls and come out in the 2023 election a united force that is capable of wresting power back, especially considering the fact that a lot of people are dissatisfied with how President Muhammadu Buhari have governed the country, over the past 8 years?
Minga, PDP as a party, being a democratic party, has a lot of leaders. I don't want to use the word. I don't do a harsh word. We have a lot of people who are authorities on their own at various levels, who felt, okay, things should be done this way. The other said things should be done the other way. What I saw as problem with the party is for the fact that there should be a convergence point where all the actors, if I'm using that language, will sit down around the table and put everything in their hand on the table, so that everybody will see bare face that it's okay. This is where we are. What do we really want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Let's everybody put it on the table so that we can harmonize our positions. I think that convergence is what I saw as not been there, that is lacking. And this is in phases. A phase has just passed now with this presidential election. We started very strong, and we expect that we'll finish stronger. But the last 8 years, we have been trying to rebuild the party. When we started, we got 1 or 2 states. I don't know, we got Edo, we got Sokoto. That was after that 2019 election. We got 1 or 2 other places. Osun, you understand, and that shows a party that is, progressive. You understand, but all of a sudden, issues crop up, and it affected us in this election. That's why I said, well, a lot of people felt this party is going to crash after that presidential election, but the governorship election and House of Assembly has proved that PDP is still a party that can be salvaged and become a winning party. If we have the right thinking, if we do things, if everybody agrees to work together, you understand. Getting the leaders to sit around and see reasons why this party should excel is what should be the task of every PDP member in the country.
Agreed, and that's the task of members of the party. But do you think this is achievable, considering the fact that when you had at stake a presidential election that would have actually given the party victory and made every stakeholder to come back, perhaps? But we saw that the battle started, from selecting the candidates to represent the party, for the presidential position. And that gave birth to the G5, taking position about power going back to the South and respecting that, position. And now the whole scenario has played out as we see it. My concern, which I wanted to actually speak to, is that a lot of people say it is the failure of the PDP to play its role as the leading opposition party in Nigeria, that has given rise to this. The internal fracas, continues to give rise to this, to its inability to play the role of an opposition party. Now, we've seen the Labour Party emerge and play the role it played. And a lot of people are already saying, well, the PDP may just be dead and gone, given the sudden rise of the Labour Party and the followership that it has garnered within such a short time. It has never been that way before in our political history. So I'm asking you directly now, and I want you to talk to the Nigerian people. Are you telling us now that the People's Democratic Party is better positioned at this moment, to play the role of opposition that it has not effectively played in the past 8 years, to now gain power again, perhaps in 2027, and become the relevant and the big, strong, reliable party that it used to be prior to 2015?
Gbenga, let me start this way. For now, like we said earlier on, for now, Labour Party should know that without collaborating, it might not necessarily be with PDP, but their best bet is PDP. Without collaborating with another party, it's going to be pretty difficult to win presidency. NNPP, by now, should know that without collaborating, it might not necessarily be with PDP, but without collaborating with another political party, presidency will be a tall order. PDP by now should know that without, PDP is still a national party that has a structure down to the grassroots, but without putting its house in order, APC will continue to tinker, you understand, with whatever we're trying to do politically, and they will be having their way. So, you see, like I said, it has happened in 2015. It has happened now. If once is a mistake, twice they say it's an happenstance. The third time is enemy at work. You understand? So I expect that we don't allow that to happen the third time. And this one I said there is hope for PDP to still play the opposition, and probably in the next one. It already
happened 3 times. If you lost 2015 election, you lost 2019 election, you lost 2023.
No, we know what. No, you see, I'm not particular about 2015 and this present one, because those ones have a similar scenario. You understand? As I said, okay. What I'm saying in essence is this: if you look at the scenario of 2015, it's same as the scenario of 2023. And what I'm saying is, in 2027, you understand, Nigerians are tired of APC. Labour now knows that they cannot single-handedly win the presidency. NNPP now knows they cannot sing. We told them when they were moving out that, look, why can't we just sit down and iron things out instead of going to another platform? But they felt, yes, they are strong enough to make it. NNPP know what they got at the end of the day. PDP, Labour Party. If you can imagine, if you sum the sum total of PDP, Labour Party, and NNPP, that's a landslide, for crying out loud. You understand? That's why I said, through that vote, you discover that Nigerians are tired of APC. It's glaring. You understand? And the only thing they could do now is to go back to the drawing board and be more strategic as a party in their thinking, to bring everybody on the table and find their. You see, politics is an interest-driving game. The moment I'm able to satisfy your interest, if you are 3, 4, 5 people, the moment very quickly, this is what I want, this is what I want. Yes, 2, 3 people will want the same thing. But if that first one you want is not available, what's the next option should be the question. You understand? So that we can, there's always a plan B for everybody. A, B, C, D. Even politicians will have A, B, C, D, E. You understand? If your A is not going to move, try B. If B is not going to move, try C. Let's put it on the table so that at least everybody know that. Because, you see, the moment somebody says that out of this, I'm going to be cheated out, you find this way and go and look somewhere else. You'll be like, let me go and do it all alone so that I will know I'll be responsible for my action. You understand? That's why I said PDP has a very big role to play in sustaining this democracy. And that should not be contested now. With the results, look at the result of the gubernatorial. PDP has more, like in the, I think in the, we gain more. We lost a little bit in the, not too much in the Senate, but in the rep, we gain more over the last election. You understand? If you look at the statistics very well, if we look at the governorship, we lost Sokoto, we gained Samfara. We lost Benue, we gained Plateau. That means if some things didn't really happen, that means we had the tendency of having more governors than the previous one. So these are issues that should be on the table, but it requires a lot of strategic thinking on the part of the party. You understand? Look at what happened to us in Osun. We lost Osun for 12 years. And the 12th year, we won the governorship, we won all the 3 senates, we won all the 9 federal constituency honorables. Out of the 26 House of Assembly, we won 25. That should tell you that, look, people are tired, and the next opportunity they got, they grabbed it and make sure they wiped away that party. That's what happened in Osun State, where I come from. And I think such strategic thinking should be applied at the national level too, so that when people that thinks for the party should go back to the drawing board, talk to Obi, talk to NM, not even only them. There are some other small smaller parties like that. You know, you see what ACN did then now. ACN, CPC, APGA, a part of APGA, a part of PDP. It was an amalgamation of same, but eventually they had a target, taking the central, which happened. The moment you cannot do that, the way things are now, I think that's the best.
So you're suggesting that going forward, all the opposition parties should come together against, to oust the ruling.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that PDP as the bigger one, those who first of all pulled out of that party should find a way of bringing them back and make them see why they have to work together. Now, I'm sure if those two other, if NMPP and Labour are able to have a collaborative approach with PDP, some other smaller ones, like 5 or 6 or 10 of other smaller, can equally join and make it happen.
I wonder what that will mean for competitive democracy, by the way.
But we're still not talking about, we're not talking about one party state now. The ruling party is still there.
Yeah, yes.
They won't be sleeping too. So it will make it more competitive, rather.
It means that you are perhaps soliciting for a 2-party system.
Well, I'm not actually soliciting for a 2-party system. I'm soliciting for parties that are very strong, to the point that if one party is given the opportunity of sitting over a Commonwealth as a nation, if they're misbehaving, they should know that there's another political party that has the capacity to push them out.
Right, interesting one. So let's quickly talk about the PDP now. I'm aware the PDP is organizing state congresses, state and world congresses across the country.
Yeah.
This is coming at a time where even at the national, there are a lot of storms. So there is the national chairman of the party, Dr. Yosha Ayu, is also being suspended. That's been the news making the rounds. I'd like you to speak to that. How do you have effective state world congresses without having a national that is, healthy, that has a substantive chairman that is capable, of managing the affairs of the party?
Well, let me put it this way. Most of the congresses that have been done now, the timetable has been now before the crisis at the national headquarters started. We're having this one-off election in Kogi, in Bayelsa, in Imo. All those processes have started already before. Then the state congresses, like in Osun State now, we're having our own congress, state congress for the party, because we're using caretaker all the while. Now, what I'm saying is this: all those things have started. The process have started before this came in. And PDP being a law-abiding party, I think the chairman has been told to step aside. I think today, the NWC has met and has appointed the deputy chairman, North, Damagum, as the acting chairman. So I think with that, they should be able to sit down, reappraise the programs of the party to see where it can continue and see where, if there has to be some adjustment to the timetable of the party, because what's happening at the National Working Committee level is something that needed urgent attention. But for me, it's like when it rains, it's pause. You understand? It's all these small issues. There are distractions. You understand? But I believe our leaders are competent, they are capable, and they are working on ways of making things work moving forward.
So you believe that the People's Democratic Party can still find redemption and become a major party, or perhaps a winning party?
Well, with what's happening are part of, you see, whatever happens to PDP now is a fallout of, if you have won this election, some of these things won't happen naturally. You understand? If anybody's going to fight, people will start fighting of recognition and stuff like that within the party. But now that we have lost an election, any organization that just had any program or any project, you understand, I think when you finish, first thing you do is to go and to sit down and reappraise their performance. You understand? So we just finished all the elections. I expect that there should be performance reappraisal for them to find the way moving forward. Now, but this issue of suspension from the world litigation that started, so that it won't serve as a discharge, that's like, okay, the chairman should step aside. And when sometimes become litigation, when the court rules, you understand, the law supersedes every other thing. They said the chairman should not parade himself, so the best thing for him is to step aside, allow the deputy national chairman not to take over and in acting capacity, pending the time that they will resolve all the issues. But I'm sure there's no election again now, apart from the congresses and the primaries they want to do in some of the states. We have an off-time election. So I believe the national leadership of the party are capable. They will be meeting. Things are happening very fast, but I think in the next couple of days they will see what. The program to be continued, the program to be suspended, because they want to be put on hold, it will be unfolded, and the party will be good.
Finally, before I let you go, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is the president-elect at the moment. A lot of all the oppositions and the court cases challenging, his emergence. Do you see any alteration to the emergence of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
Benga, this is Nigeria, and for some of us who are a bit older, we are in history. We have seen people that are supposed to emerge as president that eventually the election was annulled. We have seen it all as a country. I think bulk of the work, if I may use that language, is on the president-elect. This election, I cannot even describe it. Religion, ethnicity, a lot of things. It doesn't went wrong this last election. A lot of things. He himself lost his Lagos state. You understand? And his ancestral home, which is Osun, he lost that place too. And you can imagine the way they voted in South and Southeast. You understand? So there are a lot of consultations. There are a lot of things that he needed to do if truly he wanted to be president within this little time he has before inauguration. He needed to work in tandem with the presidency. He needed to work. But like I said, the other parties that are disgruntled, some of us that felt the INEC couldn't have declared him as president-elect are in court already. The judiciary members too are members of our society. They are Nigerians. They all saw what happened. But let them look into the books. If there have been infractions, let the court take action on it.
All right. Thank you so very much for your time on this.
It's a pleasure.
All right. It's been a wonderful time of conversation with Honorable Funsho Babarinde of the People's Democratic Party on today's edition of the program. I'm sure you have been enlightened, and maybe if you are a supporter of the PDP, your hope have been raised that again the PDP will rise again. But only time will tell if it will ever rise. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll come your way again with more interesting subjects of discussion on the political scene. Till then, keep watching our live television. I am Lubinga George.